Ryan here with Prudential Pest Solutions, and we are at a house in Wernersville, Pennsylvania, which is in Berks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, and it's actually the town in which I live. So this is actually right up the mountain from me. And what we're looking at here are European Hornets that are getting into the tongue and groove, and they're getting into this void above this porch roof. And what was happening was the homeowner wasn't able to enjoy their nice balcony up here, and they sprayed a couple times. But you know, with European Hornets, these are large hornets. They're bigger than bald-faced hornets, and aggressive and mean, and yeah, we just can't have them here. So in nature, what they do is they'll find like a crook in a tree or a hole in a tree, and that's where they'll make their home. But this queen has found a nice little void here between the tongue and groove of this patio, or of this balcony, and that's where they've made their nest. So we could do a couple different things. We could rip out all this wood and actually get the nest out, but since it's not actually in the wall of the home, we're going to just inject directly into the opening there and kill off the nest, put some longer term residual insecticidal dust in there, and then do a spray, and that'll resolve this issue completely. So the first thing we do is I inject the PTPI directly into their opening, and because this is tongue and groove, and there's on the boards there's always little gaps, I'm not just going to hit their main opening. You see where they're kind of hovering around there. I'm also going to hit to the left and right of that too, just to ensure that we have complete coverage, because they will come out of different areas than what you've seen when you first pull up. So we want to make sure that we get total and complete coverage. Now, we can see that the PTPI, I mean, it works pretty quick. If you've seen our other videos, you know that I love it so much because it does, well, many things for us. But number one, it knocks them down almost immediately. The other thing that it does is that it permeates that entire void. So it has really good coverage once it gets applied in there. And then the other thing that it does is it doesn't have any residual, because I don't want anything long-lasting in there with this aerosol. I just want to be able to kill off the nest and move on. So we don't have the audio for the video on, but what happens is, whether it's yellow jackets, hornets, bees, wasps, whatever, when I first inject that PTPI into that opening, we know we got to the nest where you'll hear that whole area come alive. Well, I say come alive, but it'll sound like a large buzzing sound, because it's reaching, that insecticide is reaching into the heart of the nest, and all those European hornets that are in there are succumbing to it. We can also tell that we got good coverage because, as we can see here, there's quite a few European hornets that are hovering around the opening, and we see some hornets coming out, and they're going to die here very shortly. But what we're not seeing is anything going back in. And what that's telling me is that they know that something bad is going on in there, which means that we've got good coverage. If they were continuing to come and go out of there, we know then that we did not get to the heart of the nest. So again, in this case here, I did not think that it was prudent or practical to remove any of the wood or damage or remove the soffit, because this is in a balcony floor basically, and there's just no need to. And you'll see when I come off this ladder here what the underside looks like, but it's a wooden ceiling underneath there, so we would have to cause some substantial damage to get that nest out. And I'm a homeowner too, and if there was already damage there, I would say, yeah, let's remove it. But all the wood's in good shape. It's outside, well, you know, relatively outside, so there's no issue in leaving it there. We can do a great treatment, an effective treatment, and move on, and this homeowner won't have any damage to repair. Here's a look at my ladder here. I've been really onto these telescoping ladders, especially when I'm wearing my bee suit. I don't have to get a big 22-foot ladder off the top of the truck and try to maneuver that around when I'm wearing all my equipment. These telescoping ladders are pretty slick. So we're just looking at these European Hornets, and you could tell you have European Hornets because they're like I said, they're quite large, much larger than bees, wasps, yellow jackets, and bald-faced hornets. And they also have distinctive markings on their back. And I always like to think that when I look at them, and we'll see an up-close picture here soon, but I always think when I look at it, it looks almost like a crown, like an upside-down crown on their backside. But yeah, these are large, very large predatory wasps, and we got to just, we got to be careful. So of course I'm not showing it here, but I'm wearing my bee veil, hard hat, coveralls, and you can see I'm injecting in other parts of the tongue and groove flooring there just to ensure that we have total kill off. And then what we're going to do then after this is that I'm going to take a bulb duster, which allows me to apply a long-term residual insecticidal dust into that opening there. And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of block that pheromone. It's going to kill off any stragglers that are in there that didn't come across the PTPI, or any of these European Hornets that decide that they are going to be brave and get back in there somehow. It's going to kill them off. So this looks kind of like smoke when I'm putting this in there, but it's just a powder. It's just a dust. And I think it looks kind of neat when we're going in there. But we're just going to go through all these nooks and crannies. And again, we want to ensure that we get good coverage to the left and right of where their main opening was, because what I don't want is I don't want any of these Hornets, any of these European Hornets rather, to say, hey, you know what, you killed off our main opening in our nest, but I'm going to get in a different way. No, that's not happening. We're gonna treat to the left and right, ensure we have complete coverage, and we're going to kill them off. Then the last thing we're going to do, and I'm going to show this later in the video, is I'm going to put on my backpack sprayer, and we're going to just do a topical spray on the outside, which is going to be good for a multitude of insects like bees, wasps, ants, that sort of thing. You can see here that, well, it's kind of tough to see in the shadows, but they had some carpenter bee damage. So I'm just going to treat that while I'm here, because no client of mine, I'm going to leave and they're still going to have pest issues. No way. So we're going to get all that treated. And again, that's the same process. And I have some other videos. If you have carpenter bees, this is the best way to treat. So what we're doing is we're applying, it's called tempo dust, which is active ingredient is cyfluothrin. And we're going to apply that into all the carpenter bee exit holes. And carpenter bees make these half-inch, almost perfect circles. I mean, they're quite impressive how they do that. But impressed or not, we're going to kill them all off anyway and leave our client happy. So when their client comes home, they're going to see a bunch of dead European Hornets. They're going to see, and there's a close-up of one there. So you can see he's acting crazy, or she's acting crazy, because that PTPI really reacts with their motor skills. So we can see it's just kind of fluttering around there. But like I said, very, very large. Color can be yellow, almost to an orange. And like I said, they're just big, mean, and nasty. So that's good that we're killing them off. Again, we're still going to have some hovering around, no big deal. We're going to get those sprayed here in a minute. And you can see how this telescoping ladder works and why I love it so much, because it's just one hand to carry, and I can get to one story on a house. Now, of course, if this is a two-story home or something larger, then we're going to get our other ladders out. But I really like it for first floor stuff when I'm wearing my bee suit and I'm far away from my truck, because you're going to see here I got a bit of a hike to get back to my truck, and I don't want to be carrying a big ladder around, wearing all that equipment, and it's just easier. I also really like those ladders for when we get into attic spaces. Now, I don't know where you are in the country, but here in southeastern Pennsylvania, they tend to put some of our attic accesses in the smallest closet in the smallest bedroom in the house, and trying to drag a big ladder up through a house and trying not to hit walls and break stuff. These telescoping ladders are just perfect for that. So they're mobile, they're sturdy. Can't say enough about them. A lot of customers compliment us on them. So take that for what it's worth. So now we're looking inside of my truck. I wish it was a little bit cleaner for this video. No worries. I did put a bed slide in there so I can have easier access to all my equipment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my battery-powered backpack sprayer, and we're going to spray the areas that the Hornets were hanging out, and also where the carpenter bees were hanging out, because we just want to make sure we have complete coverage. So that's what I have that backpack sprayer for. And I think in this case we were using either Suspend Polyzone or maybe Taurus, which is the active ingredient is fipronil. And fipronil, if you don't know, we use that commercially for termites, but why it's really good for other social insects is because the insect can't really detect it. And what happens is it doesn't kill them right away. We use the fact that they're social insects against them. So bees, wasps, ants, termites, these are very social insects, meaning workers go out and they all work collectively for the colony. or the nest. And what happens is when they come across this product, like fipronil, which is Taurus, Termidor, those sorts of things, is they get it on them, it doesn't kill them right away, and they bring it back to the colony. So we're essentially letting them do the work for us, which is why it works so well. It does take a little bit longer than a fast acting, but in this case, we've already used our fast acting, which is our PTPI. We have a long-term residual in that void, which is going to help for months and years to come, which is that tempo dust that we applied in there. And this is our last step. So we're going to use our sprayer, and we're going to walk down. And they have beautiful flowers here. We're not going to spray anything flowering. We don't want to hurt any native pollinators. We just want to treat the areas where our specific issues are, or where issues can present on the house itself. So we're going to spray along where that tongue and groove flooring is. We're going to spray where those carpenter bees are, go high, go low, and just make sure that everything is treated and good to go. So what the customer should expect is, number one, today they should definitely not see any coming or going anymore. And then the next day or two, they shouldn't see any more. And within a week, you shouldn't see any. If that's not the case, they just call us, and of course we warranty all our work because we're the best at what we do. So if we feel or they feel that it's not complete, we'll come right back out and make sure that they're taken care of, because that's what we do for our folks. So if you have a hornet issue with bees, wasps, yellow jackets, give Prudential Pest Solutions a call at 484-401-4361, and I promise we can help.